also went in and impersonated your account so that I didn't have to stumble over the fact that I have more resources in mine than they do. So,
Oh, perfect.
yep.
Okay, so they can all hear us, but that's okay because we're not saying anything proprietary or anything.
No, we're not.
Yeah. Happy Tuesday, everyone. We're going to get started here very shortly. Patty Duncan is in the house in case you all don't know her.
I am. I am in the house.
Where are you?
My living room. No,
but what state?
Pennsylvania.
Okay. It's cold there, huh?
It is cold here. Yes, unlike Florida. Although
you need to come visit.
When I was down there last, it was cold.
Oh,
a couple weeks ago. Middle of February, I guess it was. I was in Brevard.
Okay.
And it was like 50 degrees, which I'm like, I came to Florida.
Yeah, right. Today it's like 75-ish.
Nice.
Beautiful. Yeah. So we got 2 more minutes. We're waiting for everyone to join us. We have 3 people watching right now, but that normally jumps.
Right.
So we'll have, see, we're already at 4.
Woohoo. Exponential.
Yes. And it's great because 1 million people watch the recording of this.
All right.
So we literally have, here, I can turn my thing on, my camera, so you can see my pretty face. So we typically average about 100, 150 people watching the morning and the afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of neat. So I'm having a bad hair day.
Me too. It's one of those days.
Yeah. So if you ever use this YouTube live, they have in the right column, in fact, I'll move it over for you. Over here, they make it so that the top chat automatically appears versus the live chat. So if you have it on top chat, you literally miss half the comments that get posted. It's the stupidest thing. I probably shouldn't say that because it's being recorded, but I don't know why. I miss all sorts of chats.
So who decides what's top?
I guess YouTube.
I don't know.
I don't know either. Should we get started?
Sure.
3 o'clock on the dot.
Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Tuesday. My name is Melissa Matthews. I work with the Department of Ed Tech, and I am here with the beautiful.
My name is Patty Duncan. Thank you very much, Melissa. I am a manager of partner engagement activation at Discovery Education. It's a fancy term for instructional specialist. And I support all of our partners and users of Discovery Education resources in using Discovery Education resources.
Yay. So we're going to teach you all the hidden gems in Discovery Education today. So hopefully you'll learn some things that you didn't know were in there. So before we get started, let me move y'all over to this other screen here. And you all are probably watching at weeklywebinars.palmbeachschools.org. And if you look, here's our beautiful screen. And when I click play, this YouTube logo appears in the bottom right corner. If I click that, it takes me to the YouTube website, which I can then participate in the chat on the right, which is nice. So you can see that login right there. And here's that top chat, live chat that we were talking about earlier. You always want to be on live. Also, I don't know why, but by default, it comes out low and blurry. So in the bottom right corner, if we hit that settings gear and we go to quality, I can make it 720, and then I can actually read and see what the presenter is sharing. Yay! Okay, so without further ado, what is your favorite thing in Discovery Education? Go ahead and type it in the chat box on the right of the YouTube page and share with Patty and I what your favorite thing is that you use in Discovery. And some of you may not have a favorite thing, and that's okay. But if you do, go ahead and write it. And while we wait for those, we're going to go ahead and just start. So I'm going to let Patty take over.
Well, thank you, Melissa. So I'm going to do a screen share, and I am now sharing my screen. I'm going to jump over here. I know there's a couple second lag. So Melissa, go ahead and let me know that you can see National Girl Scout Day.
I can. It's
awesome.
Beautiful.
Today is National Girl Scout Day, guys. Yesterday was National Napping Day. I'm not sure which one I'm more happy about, but that's okay. I'm only kidding. I love the Girl Scouts. So we're here to talk about the hidden gems of your Discovery Education account. And the first thing that I want to talk about is that the fact that there are a couple of different kinds of hidden gems. There are the kinds of tools, resources, experiences that you may not know you have access to. And then there are the types of resources that are more like, what are the things I use in my lessons, in my instruction? So we're going to talk about both of those today. The first thing I want to point out is that most of you, when you log in, you land on this page. This is your, what we call your Streaming Plus homepage, and it has lots of great information for you. But a lot of times folks never go up to here in their left navigation and click on My DE. And My DE in and of itself is a hidden gem. It's one of those things. And by the way, Patrick, if you are logged in right now and you're watching, I am logged in as you. Please don't get confused. I am just impersonating Patrick so that my account looks like your account's. All right. So at any rate, I'm going to scroll down a little bit. And on this My DE page, you're going to see that there are lots of great things for you to interact with. Information for you to share with your students, activities that you can do with your students, as well as both current events and what we call On This Day, which is allowing to look at the history of today's date. And all of that is here on your My DE page. Now, over here on the left, this is what we call our activity feed. And this is where you're going to find the most current initiatives and things that are going on in your Discovery Education. So we have International Women's Day, and there's activity here, and there was the Stronger Than Hate Challenge, which comes from one of our education partners, and it actually is a challenge that your students can join. And then we have resources for International Women's Day, and then this third entry down here, Tech News Thursday with Cheddar K12. So Cheddar K12 is a brand new resource. If you don't know what Cheddar is, it is a news channel or news feed, kind of like a vodcast about technology. In particular, how do innovations in technology affect business and vice versa? So we now get these Cheddar Blasts once a week, and they're pushed there to your main page. And in the Cheddar Blast, you're going to find out all kinds of things that are going on in today's world when it comes to technology and how it affects business and things like that. So in this case, in this week's episode, you hear about pirating of Netflix, big issue. How are they going to work in? What technology type innovations are they going to come up with to both avoid pirating, avoid people sharing their username and password, things like that? Google's got new gaming hardware. How many of your students might be interested in that? And the high demand for healthy fats and increasing debt of those between ages 19 and 29. That in particular, I think, is going to be of interest to some of our students. So it's a video, just like a lot of our other content. And just like our other content, you would, if it was a video, you would play it here. You can download it, add it to your quick list, all that other fun stuff. But I wanted to especially point you to the instructional guide that comes with your Cheddar resources. So this is the Cheddar K12 Instructional Guide. It's not necessarily specific to that week's episode as much as it is how can this particular type of resource be support your instruction. So you can see that the it gives you information on the connections you can make in English language arts, social studies, science, STEM, business and finance, marketing. You can see that all of the different skill sets that it is connected to. So you can, work on seeking solutions in a variety of different learning environments and so on. And then when you come down here, you're going to see specific instructional strategies, adapt the delivery, create your own podcast, creating a social media campaign, critiquing a company. And so all of these are different lesson ideas that you can do using the Cheddar resources. So you can see that in addition to it being a really great way to introduce a very relevant, timely content to your students, it's also got a lot of great instructional applications depending on what you're trying to accomplish in your classroom. So Cheddar is one of those hidden gems on your My DE page. Brand new, only been going on for about a month or two, and folks are really excited about it. I'll also come down here and show you a couple of others. So, for example, our Innovation Generation Contest closed, I should say, on March 5th. So that's actually something that's closed, but you can go in and vote. And then there'll soon be, if it's not here already, I just got an email that says our 3M Young Scientist Challenge is about to open. And so watch for that in that activity feed. It'll be there. If you are interested at all in the 3M Young Scientist Challenge, you should have your students check it out. Over here on the right, very similar to the Cheddar news, except for this is world news. We've got your Reuters news feed. The Reuters news feed is going to give you up-to-date, relevant, global things that are happening around the world that you can connect to your content in your classroom. And then right below that is the on this day. Like I said before, it's like what's going on this date in history in a variety of different fields. And you can go in and check out information about these. So this is why it's International Girl Scout Day, because today in 1912, the Girl Scouts of America were founded. And you could go in there and find out more. Right below that, of course, is the events feed, and that's all for you. That's all about your own professional development and opportunities for you to sign up for webinars that we at Discovery do that you could attend that are over and above the webinars that your district provides you in such a fantastic way. So I love to be able to say to folks, we know that you land on your Streaming Plus homepage. We know that you know what to do with your information on your Streaming Plus homepage. For example, browsing by topic and going in and drilling in, picking your different resources that you want to check, your different disciplines, changing your grade level, and all of that other fun stuff. And so this is the ways that you could start to look for content, but make sure that you check out your My DE page as a way of finding out the latest and greatest things from Discovery Education. And that includes this space up here. So a lot of folks ignore this space up here. That space is going to change almost daily depending on what's going on. Yesterday it said International Women's Day. Today it says National Girl Scout Day. And so it all depends on what's going on in history. If we're running contests, if we have big events coming up, you're going to find out about that right at the top of this My DE page. And while we're talking about navigating away from your Streaming Plus page over here, wanted to highlight again, if you haven't explored your tools that you have, like your My Content, your Classroom Manager, your Assignment Builder, your Builder tools, and your Professional Learning Center, which I'm going to talk a little bit more in a bit, make sure you go around and click around and try out those different things. All right, so that's a little bit about the different experiences that you could have with your Discovery Education account that you might not know about. But I want to talk for just a couple minutes about some of the resources that you may not be aware that you have access to. When I do this, I like to just come over here and do a blank search. So that means when I say a blank search, I mean I'm not putting a keyword in. I'm just hitting the magnifying glass. A lot of people don't realize you could do that. I've done it with Google, though. It's not really effective. You get too much. But in Discovery Education, you don't get too much. You get about 182,000 resources. You know that there's a bunch of them are videos. Most people, when they talk about Discovery Education, they come over here and they talk about videos. But you have so much more than videos. However, before I navigate away from this particular initial search, I do want to scroll down and tell you that you have some filters over here that are really important. So for example, you can filter closed captions. You can filter those videos that have closed captions. You can filter editable content. And what that means is that that's content that you have the rights because we have obtained the rights for you to be able to download those materials and utilize them in projects. The students can splice them and dice them and use them in projects and things like that. You can also filter out things that are just primary sources and things that have quizzes or related materials. You can filter by publisher, you could filter by grade level, you could filter by Lexile score for the text, and you can filter out by language. You can also come down here. We get a lot of feedback about how old some resources are, and we like to say that they're not old, they're seasoned. And a lot of them that are around that are still 2001 or earlier, they're still around because people use them. And so we don't just look at the publication date when we're deciding to archive a resource. We also look at the usage and whether or not people interact. All right, really super quick. I want to go through a couple of these filters up here, though. We know about the videos. Everybody knows about videos. Images, you got about 25,000 images, lots of great resources when it comes to images for many, many strategies and instructional type activities. I did want to point out, though, when you go in an image, a lot of folks are not aware of this. So, of course, you know that you can assign and that you can print and you can preview and you can add it to your My Content and add it to a builder. But a lot of folks don't know that when you download, it first opens up in a preview window. And when you do that with a large size, if you preview it large, you see how my cursor went from an arrow to a magnifying glass. So when it does that, now I can come to any part of the image and I can zoom way in. And that's going to allow me to look at detail. It's going to allow me to, depending on the image, I can look at faces. I can look at all kinds of things in an image and really pick it apart. One strategy that some teachers like to do with this is basically like zoom into a specific piece of the image and try to have the students guess what that is. Now, unfortunately, with this image, I think a lot of students would think that might be a piece of dried up dog poop, but it's not. It's a trilobite, and there's a lot of great information to be gotten out of looking closer at that image. So just wanted to give you that little share about some of what are the things that you can do with images as far as utilizing them and some strategies. Now I'm going to click on audio because audio actually is my absolute favorite category. Lots of people don't know that we have audio. One of the things that I want to talk about in your account is your audio books. So you've got about a little over 1,000 different audio books. And that's just like it sounds like. So this is a recording of someone reading a book, all kinds of things from Goosebumps and Clifford to the first 2 parts of the Hunger Games series, and so on. And so you can go into these different audio books and you can play them whole group. You can have students play them on their devices, listen to them with their earbuds. They can also be downloaded. The files can be downloaded just like a lot of the other files that we have, and then built into a builder and such like that. So audio is such a powerful tool, especially for those students who are struggling for one reason or another. If you're working on literacy, of course, you're going to support students by playing the audio book with the printed book and helping them read along. But even if it's not a literacy strategy, just those students who for one reason or another are not feeling it when it comes to actually just plain old reading, or they have to hear something in order to ingest it, the audiobook is going to help with that. And so that's a really important feature of your account that you might not know about. And along with that, before I go to another category, I also want to come up here. I'm going to do a search for Weston Woods. Now, if you don't know what Weston Woods is, it's a publisher, and they're related to Scholastic. And what the Weston Woods resources are, a lot of them are audiobooks, all right? But basically what they are specifically is you come in here and these might be animated readings of the book. So not only is it just the audio, but you'll also have animations of the story. And I don't mean like a cartoon version of the story, but more along the lines of the, an animator, the same animator who produced the animations for the storybook, they use those animations in the read aloud of the book. So that's just another way to be able to find that. And you can also find that if you don't filter out audio, you can go in that immediate search and look in your list of publishers down here. And when you look in your list of publishers, you can filter out Weston Woods all the way down on the bottom here, right there, and find them that way as well. So these are videos. They're not audio files, they're videos, but they're the video of the book being read out loud. And so with the actual animations from the book. So I really like those as another way of supporting that auditory learner, right? When we talk about the audio files, we're also going to mention that we have podcasts. Podcasts are a really great way for students to become engaged in a subject area. But what I like about the podcast more than anything else is that they introduce the students to the concept of a podcast. So I know a lot of people in your district do really great project work with the students. And so let's say your project work was to create a podcast. Well, some students may not understand what you mean by that. So you can play them a How Stuff Works or Stuff You Should Have Paid Attention to in History Class podcast. And so they can understand the whole back and forth between the announcers and how podcasts share information and that kind of thing. So there's lots of great resources that way. And also, in addition to the podcast, you've got audio files. So I know it sounds weird. It's audio under audio, but especially the audio files that I like are the ones that are primary sources. So you can go in and you can filter the primary sources of your audio files. I can come in here and click primary sources. And now I've filtered out audio files. There's about 140 in your account. And these are actual speeches. John F. Kennedy's speech, Harry Truman's speech, Franklin D. Roosevelt's dedication of the monument, George H.W. Bush address before the Joint Chiefs of Congress. And so these are the actual recordings, the primary sources of these historical events. Now, there are lots of other files under the audio category. But in particular, if what you're looking for is the opportunity for students to hear the actual event as it happened live, a recording of that event, the primary source audio is a really great way to do that. The other, you have about 3,000 sound effects, lots of strategies for sound effects. I'll show you in the SOS. And then I'd like to just take a really quick minute and talk about songs. So often a lot of people think about songs with the younger kids, right? And we have tons of songs for the younger kids. There's about 1,800 songs, and if I do K2, you'll see about 1,500 of them are categorized K2. But I wouldn't even filter, because you never know whether or not somebody's filter parameters meet yours. But what I do want to point out is if I filter K68, then I'm going to get a specific set of songs by this person called Lodge McCammon. And Lodge McCammon in particular writes amazing songs for science, social studies, and math at the actually 6 to 12. Like, you could use this all the way up into high school. And one of the reasons why I love Lodge McCammon's songs is because he does provide the lyrics. Anytime you see related materials, you're going to see the lyrics. And you can print these lyrics out. You can give them to the students. They can do closed reading activities and the like. But in addition to the lyrics, he also provides a teacher's guide. And that teacher's guide is going to give you this opportunity for note-taking and information collecting that you're not necessarily getting it out of the song, but the lyrics of the song are kind of leading in to collecting this information. So you pick apart the song and you say, well, I have a theory Schein and Schwann and Vercoe agree with. And then it says list 3 Germans that have devised the cell theory. Well, that's pretty easy. Those are the 3 names. And it says that all living cells have basic cells. Yeah, Anton believes it. And this is define a cell. So the song doesn't define a cell, but now the students can do research and or the teacher can give them notes that are going to help fill this listening guide in and back up, if you will, the lyrics of the song. So lots of great ways to use songs, obviously. We have many strategies for that. But when it comes to the middle school and the high school, it's another form of text. It's another form of information. All right, I'm going to jump over now and go to interactive. So you may or may not know that you have a bunch of interactives, about almost 175 interactives. And they fall into categories like exploration, games, integrated science simulations, interactive maps, math interactives, and so on. Those math interactives in particular will be things that help the students like figure out the math problems. The science interactives are going to fall into the category of exploration. Oh, that's why that's happening, because I have 6-8 filtered. It's like, where's my fundamentals? There they are. So you have explorations and fundamentals are the science interactives, and then you also have math interactives. The interactive maps tend to be social studies, and the skill builders run in all disciplines, right? But some of my favorite interactives are the games. So the games really allow you, these are not necessarily, although they could be, they are not necessarily meant to be something that you sit at the student at the computer and say, go play a game, right? These can be used very strategically instructionally. So you can do punctuation paintball where the students have to yell out to the teacher what punctuation to shoot at the sentence and where to put it, or the students can take turns running up to the front of the room and doing it. You can do fishy fractions where the students have to run the gamut between matching a fraction and the picture of the fraction all the way up to addition, multiplication of like and unlike fractions. But What Do You Know quiz show is one of my favorites. So the What Do You Know quiz show is going to basically allow you, again, students could do it themselves, or you can create teams. So you can do 4 teams, let's say 4 rows in your classroom, and each row gets a team. And then you basically keep adding another player, and then the students sit in rows, and the first kid in the row is the person who's answering the question at that point in time, and so on. And then they, they get the chance to answer the question. And once they answer the question, they get up and run around to the back of the row, and the whole room moves up. So there's lots of great ways. So this is styled after Jeopardy, if you haven't gotten the point about that. And then what it does is allow you to like do their review, basically. So we're going to hit ready. I don't even remember the topic. The state of the atmosphere at a certain place in time is called, I don't know. So we're going to hit enter. Oh, that's wrong. But now anybody can steal, and so on. So it's a lot of fun, right? Lots of fun as far as reviewing and doing different kinds of things. I'm going to jump over here to lesson. Oh, no, before I do that, I want to go into an example of the science explorations. Science explorations, these were actually built for our science textbook, and we have made them available to our Streaming Plus users, a handful of them, some of the most impactful ones. And these allow students to come in and explore different aspects of the different scientific concept. And they come in a couple of different types. Some of them ask them to make decisions and put things in certain places. Others are more informative, where they can kind of investigate and learn around. The point that I want to make in particular is that there's a teacher's guide and a student guide for every one of these explorations, and they really help you understand what the students should be doing, how they could be used instructionally, and this kind of activity, an exploration, can certainly be part of a bigger lesson where, say, you have a couple of different stations, and one station is a video about the solar system, and one is an exploration about the solar system. Another one is a vocabulary activity about the solar system, and so on and so on. And they can kind of rotate around and do the different activities. All right, I have a couple minutes left. I'm going to jump really quickly into lesson materials. And I want to point out that one of the first things you're going to get when you hit lesson materials is your content collections. If you've not explored the content collections, you definitely want to do that. The content collections, there's about 423 of them. And each one of these content collections, you can choose your grade level. It comes with a lesson starter or lesson plan ideas, a featured SOS strategy, and then all of the content that you might want to start with. That's one of the important things that I want to mention, is that just because we put this collection together that has these historical events, these images, these video segments, that doesn't mean that you're limited to those resources. It just means that that's the collection as we packaged it. It's kind of saying, well, I'm going to go to the grocery store and I'm going to buy these ready-made meals in a box, but I'm going to augment it with some fresh broccoli. So I'm going to go out and look for fresh broccoli, something along those lines. So the content collections are really helpful as a way to get started. What am I going to do with this particular topic? But under lesson materials, one of those hidden gems that a lot of people don't realize you have access to are graphic organizers. So the graphic organizers really are amazing resources that kind of tie your media to your instruction. So for example, I really love this vocabulary chart. Let's say you're watching a video clip about the solar system and you give the kids 5, 6 different words to be aware of. And so they write the words down here. They pre-assess whether they know the word or they don't know the word. And then they watch the video clip for context clues that's going to help them define the word, right? So maybe the word is meteoroid, and then they watch the video and they see something that lets them think that a meteoroid has something to do with rocks, right? And so they put some context clues down around rocks. Now, one strategy that a lot of teachers use with this vocabulary chart is they find a video that has words and or they play the closed caption, but they turn the sound off. So the students not only have to look for context clues, but they have to watch the words instead of just listening. And sometimes you would also want them to listen too. So there's lots of different skills that you can work on. Another one of my favorite ones is this opinion plan. So the opinion plan basically has the students going in, they're going to write an opinion paragraph, and they go in and they say, well, what's my opinion here? What's my topic? What's the reason? What's the evidence I have for that opinion? What's my second reason? What's my third reason? What's my conclusion? And so it's kind of like, you know, preparing them to read preparing them to write about whatever their opinion is after they've interacted with a certain piece of text or information. So those graphic organizers, really nice. And a lot of people don't know they're there. Really super quickly, because I know I'm about to run out of time, I want to make sure that you spend time in your professional learning center. If you do nothing else, go in and visit your professional learning center. You're going to find things like the SOS strategies, 120 different implementation strategies for using your media. You're going to find things like the virtual field trip archives, like websites through our education partners that some of them include challenges and contests, but all of them include lesson plans, virtual field trips, and career highlights. You're going to find our hot topics page, which shows you ways to use Discovery Education media for differentiation, for increasing higher order thinking skills, for social emotional learning and the like. You're going to find things like our Major League Baseball connection. So if you do nothing else in your deeper dive into your Discovery Education account, please make sure you go in and look around in your professional learning. The nice thing about it, because we're digital, this section, your professional learning center, changes all the time. We're updating it almost daily. And so even though today's hidden gems were the things that I highlighted, you never know what next week hidden gems could be, because Discovery Education is always making itself better just for you.
You're so sweet, Patty. You did a great job. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. So I'm going to pull that back. I made it so that you were presenting to everyone. So I'm going to make myself present to everyone. So live attendance, it's really any attendance. You can watch these after the fact now. Needs to be done in order to get your points. Implementation homework. Take a screenshot of anything Patty taught you today, anything in Discovery Education. Take that screenshot, upload it to ELM. Make sure you sign in so that we have documentation you were here, and also take that survey. So make sure that survey is complete. It's once per semester. So all homework is due May 25th. The next week is, we're actually taking 2 weeks off. So next week is spring break. Have a wonderful break. The week after that is our tech conference, or the day after. So it's going to be crazy. So the week after that, April 2nd, we're going to learn Google Maps and virtual field trips. So hopefully you can join us on that. I am going to escape real quick and make this link a copy real quick, paste it into that chat window. So if you can fill that form out for me, that tells EdTech what you learned. And that's all we got for today. So thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you, Patty.
You're welcome.
And we'll see you April 2nd.
Have a good spring break, everybody.
Yep. And all homework from January through March is due today. So please make sure you get that turned in. Okay. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.